I know, it's so crazy. Let me share. Okay, so we're gonna punt, and what you see on the screen there is a compressed air rocket launcher. What? It's a potato gun. Don't say potato gun. Rocket launcher. Okay. And so this is what we're going to move to, because it's something we can do as we go through these rolling soft closures, which is going to be the nature of the beast. Now, just so you know, if you haven't been paying attention to the reality of the world, I'm going to share that with you guys so you can see it. If you get the common cold and then we get a COVID test, it'll be positive. The coronavirus is a common cold virus. So if you have a cold and you get tested, it'll be a positive for corona. Okay, that's just the nature we're in, and we're moving into that season now. The weather's changed. It's gonna be a fun ride, folks.
We're being lied to.
You've always been lied to. It's the government. What country do you think you live in? That's just the way it is. All right. So this project originated at Weber State when I was teaching at Fremont High. We did a tech day fair. That doesn't happen anymore. Whoa, that was weird. I heard myself. It was kind of creepy. And we'd have competitions on the WSU football field. This is the south end zone, and these rockets were to go, well, just about almost 100 yards straight, and then they go up. I think we measured one was about 300 feet in the air. So they go pretty far, okay? So we are going, hey, Kata made it. Makes me happy. So this is what we're going to design. Now, we got to play a little bit of a game, because those of you who are at home, how many of you do not have SolidWorks? And you can speak if you'd like. You're not going to speak, are you? You all went and got coffee and donuts, didn't you? That's what happened. Cameron's being on or off is up to you, but I do need to know how many of you have SolidWorks at home. What was your name again?
Dan.
Thanks, Dan. Dan, the Maytag man. Okay, Mustafa does. Is that the only one? Okay, you guys are still part of the class. You have to participate. Michaela does. Okay, so I'm assuming then that 5 of you do not. Okay. So for this project, this is why we switched it, because you guys are all so quick to answer. Kaden does. Good, Jill. It makes me happy. Okay, so the option is not YouTube. That's what I was playing. So here's what we're going to do is an option. And whoops. What now? Okay, so we're going to look at an option. And if you open up your Google, it's such a funny thing, and you hit this little waffle. So this waffle in your Google account, if you select that and you scroll down, and this is mainly for those of you who do not have Revit or SolidWorks at home, there is a thing called SketchUp that has been purchased by the state. This is the full version that you can use to do this with. I have not ever used SketchUp, so we'll kind of see how that goes. Okay, so Okay, so you get signed into this with your Google account. I'm trying to do too many things at once. And you'd use your school SD account for this. And just made it in. And you can start modeling. Now, I'm just going to show this for a minute. I played with it a little bit, but it is not the software I choose to use. I thought this is kind of a little rinky-dinky, but it works for what we're doing. You have a pencil that you can use to draw a line. You do have to make sure that your line matches the axis, so green and red. If you are at a blue, that's a z-axis. So you can draw into space. Green gets you back on the axis line. Blue is your z-axis. What? It's crazy stuff. But it works more in perspective, so it's a little different. There you create those shapes. Sizing on things, I haven't figured out size so much yet, but I think there's a way we can work that out. So, because I don't see anywhere it's measuring, and I'd like to say measured, but so we're going to try and play with this a little bit as it gets you to where we need to go. Okay. Sorry, I don't have another better solution for those without SolidWorks. If you can do SolidWorks, by all means, please try and do that. It'll help you a lot. I just don't see a way to measure.
What about the other way? Like, at that sick vibe or something.
The what?
Are we gonna work on our like projects or whatever, where we like we get a design of savers or?
Uh-huh.
Is that what we're doing today?
We're going to start that. You're going to do it with two other the Rocket's going to help you with that and give you some skills to do that. So I've got to jump ahead a little bit. Remember, we jumped 4 weeks ahead for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to work on that. Okay. So as we're looking at this, so for those at home without SolidWorks, this is what you're going to be looking at doing. Okay. You're going to have to kind of play around with a little bit to get to where you're going. Let me show you the project. And again, I know the lightsaber's part of it, but we need to work on getting some different geometries built. We've done a little bit of that with the rack pad, but what we need to do is enhance that a little bit, give you a little more skills, a little bit more to work with, okay? So that people think I know everything, I don't. Okay, so in the Engineering 2 course, here, this is where I put them, just because I did it last night, and this morning I finished it. It's in the Rocket Design, and let's start with the design of trophy. Okay, now, when I open this up, there's a document there that you can download. It should come up here as well, if everything's working right with the world today. Yesterday, Microsoft crashed, and it's done a few interesting things to my files. So we'll just pull the document up because it's faster. Okay, so this is what it is. You're going to design a trophy that is 10 inches tall, 6 inches wide, 6 inches deep. That's its maximum size, okay? Now, what we'll do is when we print these will be 3D printed. This is your two first 3D print projects. So we won't print the trophy this size to begin with. We're going to reduce the size in there so you can teach how to do scale. So scale is a big thing. Draw, always draw and model full size. Then we're going to go into the plot room and you'll each learn how to set up your G code for the 3D printers. We'll have the one in the back, the blue one will be running as well. Get that one finished, calibrated. There's 2 in the other room. So we've got 5 machines to use. And so we should be able to print these all off in like 24 hours, if everything goes well. Now, this logo part here, I'm not too concerned about you having that on your trophy right now. If you decide to submit it for this competition, we can come back and do that, okay? I remember there's a $1,000 prize if you have a winning design. Okay, and I'll let you kind of read through this as we go. But basically, it tells you the story here. The STL file, we need to talk about that later. That's after we get our model made. Then we can go and convert that to an STL. An STL is a stereo. Oh gosh, stereo. I can't remember the word for it. Well, let's just Google it. Google is a good teaching. It doesn't really tell me the name of it. So that's what it does. So when you make a 3D model, the STL file breaks that down into all of its geometries. So if you've got a sloping edge, there's coordinates for every edge. Even if you can't see an edge, it breaks it down into this kind of a view. And so those are really important. Here's the downside to an STL file. Howdy. Yeah, this computer's not working. Yeah, he's new. He didn't know. So I didn't know you were coming today because you're late. So you snooze, you lose. Find a new seat.
No, Mr. Dr. Paskey.
Yeah, yeah.
The website where you're like, never go here, but always go here for the files, for like, you know, we can like pick up the
Okay, yeah, we can go with that.
multiverse whatever.
The Thingiverse?
Thingiverse.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about. These STL files. Well, so many things going on. They're tessellations, is what those are. Stereo tessellation files, and they're really important for G code because that's what the computer reads. But if you go to a place like Thingiverse, and you can use it. If you're going to print anything off of Thingiverse, you have to pay for it though. Okay. So if you want something off here you want to print and pay for, I've got a program that tells you how much it's going to cost. It's not terribly expensive. If you want something from Thingiverse to print, you can do that. There's a lot of kits that you can get in there, that type of thing. Oh, goodness. Okay. So what we're looking at then is there's a lot in here, but when you go like this is a rocket, right? I think that's a rocket. I don't know what that is. Whatever. When you click on the file that you decide you want, and you look at the files that you're going to get, they're almost always these STLs. The problem with an STL is once it's made, you cannot edit it. All you can do is change its size. So that's the scale thing we need to look at. So while these are all great and fun, you can't do anything with them. Whereas the other site,
Oh, yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
GrabCAD. This is done, this is the site. So Thingiverse is made by Autodesk. That does Inventor, AutoCAD, Revit, Studio Max, 360, Fusion. This one, GrabCAD, is done by SolidWorks. SolidWorks is all about being able to work with what you're given. They're very open to that. So if I look for, what do I want to find? Just a clamp. Okay, just a simple clamp. When I go to this clamp and I click on that rendering, when I look at the files, it's going to give me the SolidWorks parts so that you can rebuild this clamp. So you can download all the parts and put it back together and make this exact thing. Or you can change them and modify them into something you want. So this is the site that gives you a little bit more control over what you're creating. And it's very handy that way. Now, as you work on these, there are some things like students have stumbled into different areas before. And let me just give you a caution real quick. I can never spell this thing right. Okay. So for instance, this Audi or this Lamborghini, when you get to things like this, these are full-size models. Okay, SolidWorks is very heavily used in the transportation design industry.
These are full size, like 2-scale cars.
Correct. Yeah, they typically are, especially something like this, which is, I'm going to teach how to get the renderings on these too this semester, so stay with me. The problem you run into is when you look at these folders, these are folders now, they're not parts. And when you look inside of those, it'll let you, most of these are what are called surface models, which means they're not solid. They're just a skin. Those are very, very difficult to edit as well. Okay, that's like an advanced SolidWorks user. So they're great to look at, but they do not print very well because there's no thickness to them. So don't get too caught up on the auto side of things. They tend to be what they are. They're just shells because they're used to make molds to cast the fiberglass for those bodies. Okay, so when you look at these, bring the comments. There's a lot of good information in the comments on some of these as you get working, but just kind of be aware of that. These are all just renderings of a surface model, and this is kind of what they are. So when they look at this, I'll help you make a car if you make a car, but these are surface models. Okay. All right, so let's go back and look at the other part of this assignment. The trophy is what we're going to start with. And again, you feel free to use SketchUp if you do not have SolidWorks. The preference is going to be to use SolidWorks. And what I want to do is kind of just get you into the mode of thinking things through. Now, in one of the assignment, the part of this assignment is that you create a sketch. For the trophy, you can kind of free wall that one a little bit. What I need is a picture of your sketch before it's a 3D model. Okay, so your lines only. And I'm just going to start a new part file here in SolidWorks, and I'll bring that over on the screen so you guys can see it. And we're going to kind of go about composing this trophy. And what I'm going to do, because we haven't done it yet, is I'm just going to do like a Stanley Cup type trophy. Actually, something better than that. I don't like the Stanley Cup. It looks weird. Too many people have licked it. It's gross. Okay. So if I'm in my SolidWorks environment here, and we're going to create that big old traditional urn type trophy. Okay, let's go ahead and get y'all loaded up on that, and we'll see what we can work out.
Did you want the units in IPS?
Yes, always an IPS. One, because most of you don't know the metric system, and again, you just change that in the bottom right corner. You can change that. Notice it's the bottom on the list. There's only 2 countries in the entire world that use IPS now, and we're one of them.
Like Africa?
No, it's a little island nation near Spain. I can't remember the name of it. It's just a little teeny tiny country. And maybe because they were English.
So we're IPS, right?
Yeah, always IPS. Yes, yes is IPS. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we've got a 4-inch base. I'm going to start with that. And what I want is not for you to necessarily reproduce what I'm making, but in this case, we're going to kind of walk through it so you can kind of see what techniques you can use. You need a 4-inch base. Does that have to be square or does that have to be round? You may remember?
Square.
Square. Because it attaches to a block of wood, so it makes it all fancy. Most likely we would do something a little more jazzy than that. What I'd like to end up doing is with some of your projects, especially when you get to Lightsaber, is get into molds, and so you can mass produce things. Again, it's all about manufacturing is what we want to get to. So I'm going to just start my sketch, and that sketch is going to be on the top plane because I want to build it up. If it's 10 inches tall, I want to build it up. And that's kind of the way I think about it, maybe because I grew up, so I want to grow up. Now, what I'm going to do is in this orientation, poor Andrew looks so freaking bored. Hey, Andrew. Yeah. See, that got to keep you engaged on there. Okay, so we've not really used a lot of the rectangle command yet. Under the rectangle command here, there's one called center rectangle. And this one allows you to put the center of the rectangle on your origin. And so it's right there in the center, always. Now, when you create a rectangle, does it matter the size to start? Okay, so, wow, we've only got one girl left in this class right now.
Did the other one switch out?
No, they're all distance. Everybody went Corona Vision.
Why?
Well, they had a dance up in Mill Creek Canyon.
Really?
Uh-huh. That's what happened to Olympus.
There was
Granger,
a fire up Neff's Canyon.
I know,
I was
maybe.
going to ask, so if our school gets shut down, do we also move online?
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I'm
Oh yeah, because Olympus shut down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why half the kids are.
that's what happened. The other half are from Granger. Granger just because they all just hang out. I don't know where, but they do. So next two schools up are Skyline and Kern, so hang
We've
tight.
gone down in kids though, because it's like over a 2-week period, right? So
Yeah.
we're not counting the kids anymore that had at the beginning of the year.
No, once you get it, they don't count anymore. All right, so pop your square in there and then throw a smart dimension on there and make it 4 inches on one side. And smart dimension another horizontal, make that one 4 inches. And we're good. Okay. Now, because I want you to do really, really amazing things on your rocket and on your lightsaber, more importantly, is we're going to change up how we do things just a little bit. So again, I've had to revamp my entire plan. We still be doing basic stuff here for a little bit. We're going to change it up a little bit. Will you take your roller bar and just push it in and roll your object back so it's in kind of laying down? Just push the button in and roll it down. All right. Okay. Now this is a little weird. You would never really want to work in this zone, but we're doing this so you can see what's going to happen. Okay. Because seeing, for your age, is believing. That's why most of you haven't got a date yet. You haven't seen it happen. So. Oh. See, at least you're listening. Andrew's a little bit more awake now. So my daughter had her first date and got corona. That's where I went. That's what happened to me. That boy came back out of the house the other day. Just about shot him.
And then he was like, you know,
He's got a thing for my daughter, big time. Yeah. So,
like, man, that,
yeah, it's all good. I should. It would just be easier, right? Put him out of my misery now because I've got 2 years to go. All right. So over now you got your sketch, your little square sketch laying down. If you come over to the side and you have your panels, we just on the top plane, notice the panels will highlight orange for your planes. If you right click on the top plane, you can see that a little bit. And that's good. We don't need more than that. But what I need desperately is a way to create a new plane. So if you'll turn off your smart dimension, that's still on. And you'll go into the features tab. Now, if you guys are doing SketchUp, I'll have to find some tutorials for you guys to put those out for you. So we can get you along here a little bit. Because I just don't know SketchUp, but that's the only thing I could find that would be comparable that you can do these assignments with. And we can convert over to SolidWorks. Okay. So, all right. Now, once I'm in here, I want to click on Reference Geometry in the Features tab. And if I hit that little down arrow, oh, come on, give it to me. Got to start an exit my sketch.
yeah, what's that one slide?
Yeah, I got exit the sketch I'm in. So sketch 1 is now gray. So go ahead and exit the sketch you're in. I forgot a step. I got thinking SketchUp and okay. Now, if I want to start a new sketch, I need a plane.
No. I think it's almost for that.
What? Did I go too fast for you?
Yes.
What a pain.
Sorry.
Okay, where'd you get to?
He's just barely drawn the square.
Don't listen to him.
because he did all these upper body workouts yesterday. That's all I can think about.
I just need the new plan.
Okay, exit your sketch. So sketch 1 is here. It should look gray on your screen.
Oh, wait a second.
So exit your sketch.
Oh, now we go to features.
Now you go to features, reference geometry. Now you have the option to do a plane.
Plane. There
So
we go.
click on the plane, and it says, say, where do you want it? Well, there's nothing there to pick, right? Because it's a 2D object, okay? So typically you would pick your 3 points and triangulate it. Well, I need something a little bit more robust, okay? So what this will do for me is really nothing, because if I pick any points on my drawing, I'm going to get the exact same plane again. Does that make sense? Okay, so when I'm thinking about, okay, what else can I possibly do to make a copy of a plane? So exit out of this one, come to the top plane, right click. There we go, now things are working they're supposed to. And you'll see a big old giant eyeball. You see that eyeball?
Show.
Okay, click on that. It says show. When you click on it, there's your plane. So now you've got a blue outline around your gray sketch. Okay. Now at this point, we then go into the front view. So front view on it, so it's just a line. You can go that way, or you can click front. So now I got this blue line here, right? Okay, you ready?
This boy fly.
Okay, bring your cursor over onto that plane. It'll turn orange. Click on it and drag. Come on, please do this right today. Don't do that. Is it coming up? Oh, come on. It's a little tricky.
Oh, here we go. I got it. It's
Is it
the
going?
Arrow, right?
What's up?
The orange arrow.
Yep.
And what do I do after
Just
that?
drag it up. You should get ability to do a number.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It says 4.
Yep. So you should be, well, I don't want to move. Don't move it. You want to copy it. Okay.
Oh, wait. How do we?
Hang on. Let me get my orientation back around here. Gotta get rid of this cube. I hate the cube. The cube's been out for about 5 years. I just don't like it. It bugs me.
How is it a cube when it's got those sides on the corners?
Well, okay. It's more of a box. It should say a box. A cube means all 6 sides are equal in area, whereas a box can be jumped up like this. So it's actually a box. But this little icon at the top is a toggle off and on. And go here. If you hold your control key down, I forgot the control key. So sorry. Control key. Hold over the plane, left click, drag up. There's the arrow.
Oh, wait. That's not what I got.
Okay, so you got something a little different.
Control key.
Control key. So control is copy. So we're copying the plane up.
Oh, man. Wait.
Hold on.
Okay. Now, if you didn't get it, okay, and you've got things screwed up, Control Z will undo. So you can back up a little bit. There's also the reverse arrow at the top
Oh.
if you need to do that. Okay.
Okay, so out of the sketch, we're here.
Yep, out of the
We go to
sketch,
front view.
go to the front view. Hold your control key down. Put your cursor over the plane so it's orange. Left click on your mouse and drag it up. So you're making a copy of the plane.
It just gives me this orange arrow going up.
Okay, hang on, I'm gonna swing over and look at you.
Left click.
Left click.
No, not that. Hey, another. Control Z. It's not letting me go back, right? Let's see what I'm moving on.
Okay. Now hold the thumb down and drag up. There you go.
It does it when you come over, are you kidding me?
Okay, get yours done.
Oh, and then we just connect the points like that.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah,
See, this is why you should have been participating.
yeah, what are you doing over there?
Yeah, that's kind of like, oh, suck. Did you watch any videos? You know what? I posted those suckers. So I stopped making them because no one's watching them. And for every hour of class, it takes me 3 hours to edit those suckers.
Why? Because people like don't know
5 mentioned. Is that 4? Well, I'll take it all fun stuff. Okay, that's what we're at. That's this. There's your deorientation cube. Okay. So you do that from there. Right click, hit the eyeball. Bingo. Okay, now copy that up. So control key. Now turn it orange. So zoom out a little bit.
Wait a second.
No seconds.
I have a question.
Okay. Let me get you zoomed out a little bit. So there's your orange. Okay. Control key. Select button. Hold it up and down. Drag it up. Almost got it. Nope. Keep going. Good. There you go.
Dr. Fast.
Yes, great idea.
Could you, is it possible that I design and print carbon fiber ones?
We don't have a carbon fiber printer here, but the universities do.
That we can use?
No. No, because those are very, they're like $300,000 machines.
So then how would we get at, how do we make it out of carbon
So
fiber?
what we do is we will print it off on the ABS or the PLA. Then we will create a shell with that, go down to the carbon lab and wrap it, manually wrap it.
Would it be as durable or no?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it
Like,
is.
you could still put tires and ride it?
I don't think so, yeah. Yeah, they've got the frame down there. They just never set it up. Time to.
Huh.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. So we've got the plastic and carbon.
Yes. And then you can go in and melt the plastic out if you want to get rid of it. Because the plastic melts at 270. So basically cookie. Okay. All right, let's put a size on this. Okay, your critical on that, Caden, is because you're running Zoom at the same time. You can ignore that. Just it should still run on there. It'll just be a little laggy, but I get that at home all the time too. Okay. All right, put a height on this of 1 inch. So we're gonna make that plane 1 inch above its original, and then just hit the green check mark. Now what you got is a plane on top of plane.
What if I already pressed the check? How do I?
You can edit the, if you've already checked it, then here it says plane 1, right click, edit that feature. And you can go in and change that value. Okay, so you can definitely change that value if you need to.
Is it configured feature?
No, it's edit feature, sorry, edit feature. Right click, edit feature. Okay, makes sense? So you can always come back and change things.
1 inch?
Yeah, just 1 inch. Just 1 inch. We don't want to make it too complicated, but I want to get you to where you're going, oh, that was so cool moment.
Now we press the check mark, right or no?
All right, friend, where we at? Okay, so we gotta get, so it's straight on. Okay, so you do yours on the front place at the top. So we're here. Okay, let's do this. Edit your plane. Just so that I can see. So you actually it's not matches. Okay. Orange, so control key, left mouse button, hold it in and drag it up. Yep, just like that. To make this value right here 1 inch. Okay, we got people falling asleep. That's so good. All right, now on this plane number 1. Now the reason you want to be able to copy planes, if you're going to design an airplane for Boeing, and you need to put all the ribs along that fuselage. They each get a different plane. If you're designing a boat, same thing. If you're designing certain cars, you do in planes. Yes, sir. Well, wait till I get ready to move to step 4.
Right as you sit, you know, I gotta get your exercise, man. You just sit down and you
I
go.
already did like it. This man probably has like a million sketches. All right, what's up, buddy? Come. You got next to your sketch. Now, orange. Now you do it. Look at that. Happy day. Okay. you want a leg rest, I'll flip you through the wall. Alrighty. So what we're gonna do is we'll do a new sketch on top on this plane one. So go into your sketch tab, activate your sketch, select plane one. Now in SketchUp, you're gonna have to build these more like the wedding cake style that we did on the rack pad. It doesn't have planes in SketchUp. Everything builds on what's all there, okay? All right.
There's only one plane.
There's only one plane in SketchUp, yeah.
I might call it correction.
So, see if I missed anybody's. Huh. No, I would not call Olympus students stupid. I think you guys just need social interaction.
Wait, what?
Oh, I'm just replying to the chats. I've got a lot going on.
What is the chat saying?
It's like I can call Olympus stupid because I'm from Olympus, but no one's been able to kiss anybody for 6 months. I mean, you can only go so long. Oh, you've been kissing, haven't you? Okay. Notice your origin point is now up on plane number one, right? Okay, I want you to create, you can go back to your top view if you want. I want you to create any shape you want that's smaller than the 4-inch square. So if you want to use a polygon or a circle or an ellipse or another square.
From the center line?
From the, based on the center, yes. So I'm gonna do a polygon because I haven't done one for a while. And when you do polygons, think about your numbers. There's an even number on the square. It's better if you stay with even numbers, okay, with your geometry, at least to start. When you get a little more advanced, then you can mix in some odds. But I'm just gonna do an octagon here because it's easy. And I place that right in the middle. And I'm just gonna, it doesn't matter what size I make it or what orientation.
Yellow.
I know it's in preview mode, dude. So a little preview, make it smaller than the other, and pop that in there. Okay. Now, again, try and demo every single option you guys have come up with. Would take me days and days and days. But we do know a few things. Is once I've placed a polygon, I can go in and control what's happening with its orientation. So I don't know if these lines, the top and bottom, are straight. I don't know anything about them. But if I select one of them and I force that one edge to be horizontal, it'll tilt the entire shape. Okay, because they're all connected together. So if I change one, then they all will move around. Okay, so this one became horizontal. That means this one has to be vertical because of the geometry of an octagon. Okay. Okay, now we're going to tilt back again so you can see both shapes. Here's your first aha moment.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, shoot. What am I shooting, the dog or the cat?
Both.
Okay. I might get the rabbit in the mix. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to go into your features tab.
It's exit sketch.
We're going to, when they go to features first, and I'll go back and exit. When we look in here with the sketch active, you get basically 3 options. The one that does show up is called a sweep. A sweep requires a path to follow. We don't have that condition, but Revit thinks you do for some reason. So if you go back and you exit your sketch now, and then go to features, we get the one we need, this loft. Okay, what does the word loft mean to you?
As matures between 2 or more profiles, create a solid figure, first, last, profiles can be both ones.
Wow, you're gonna be an auctioneer, aren't you? What does that mean in like Jive talk?
Is it like this?
It's like that.
It's like
Yeah.
a cone or like it is?
Yeah, so go ahead and hit your loft, boss base. It's gonna automatically select your last sketch you did, but it needs another one. So I noticed, I don't really know where I'm at because I didn't pick it, but pick an edge on the square below. And I'm not totally sold on that, but it's not too bad. Okay,
Pick an edge.
just pick edge to edge. Now you're gonna see two green dots. You might have to roll it around to find it.
I'm gonna see them all. Like,
Okay, they're on there, promise you. These will affect a kind of a twist effect, depending on what you've drawn. Now, if you've done square to circle, you're not gonna have any problem with it at all. Hey, did you bring treats for the whole class, Andrew? You can't have cereal during class.
that's messed up.
That is so messed up, dude.
Dude, I wanna go back. I want yours.
Jeez.
So dumb.
Okay, if you take one of these green dots and move it to another point, you'll change
Okay.
the nature of what's happening on that loft. So you can add a little twist to it if you need to. Now, when I look at this, Loctgun's probably not my best friend on this, really, because it doesn't really quite match what I want. You can never put these dots on a midpoint. They always go on endpoints, okay? But they give you this kind of sweeping motion to it. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, Mustafa, once you hit loft, select, it should automatically select your last sketch, then select the first sketch, any line on the first sketch. Sorry, we've got people all over the world here.
Give me a chance.
And when I teach at night, I have a night class, I've got students in 72 different countries.
Okay.
It's kind of crazy. Did that work for you, Mustafa?
One.
Slow with the feedback.
And then you go.
Okay. Yeah, just select one line on each sketch.
Dude, that's so
It
cheap.
should give you the preview. Okay. I'll be right back. I'm gonna do it again. I just got a
It
bell
doesn't
couple out.
look right, and then you spin it around and it is.
Yeah, great, huh? All right. Let's go tilt it here. Go into your features so you don't have it. So go back and turn your sketch off. Then go loft. Okay, pick that sketch. Let's pick any edge.
Isn't that steak?
Calculate, there it is. And then you move this to clean up how that looks. Okay? Yeah, it's up to you. I'm just giving you the option for the twist because at some point you might want a twist.
What do you think of mine? That work or no?
Yes, that's what I said. Any shape you want.
That work?
Yeah. Any two. So the loft works between 2D sketches or a 2D sketch and a flat surface. Okay. So it's going to give you. You get lost.
Oh.
That's new plane. You got to tell where you're drawing. You got to pick there. Now you can go back to the top of it and draw on that way. You got to make sure you know where you're at. Okay. So obviously my octagon kind of sucks, right? It's not very sexy, right? I want it. I want it sexy, right?
I want that blow.
Now, I'm not trying to be sexist on that, but when we buy, and this is how guys buy trucks. And you watch this, if you haven't bought a truck yet, or a car on your own, when guys go to car lots, they want to be all manly and macho about it. But you watch, and they're always rubbing their hand along the curve of the car. They have to feel that curve appeal. Right? So when we design, part of that is, yeah, it's sexy because it's cool looking in that term, but we also want to make it safe. I mean, this has edges like crazy.
This thing is sharp.
It's pretty sharp, yeah. Okay. So do you have this little green line, a green dot on each of those, Mustafa? Okay, so take the green line and move it to get the shape to show up. Okay, you want to make sure you also have show preview selected on the left side. So if it doesn't have show preview selected over here, it's not going to show. Okay, I'm going to check this off and I'm going to edit my sketch. So go ahead and check it off. It doesn't matter what you have. I know somebody going, I want a different shape.
Dude, mine just went gray.
Cool. Like this, that means it's solid.
Wait, how do we make it hollow?
Oh, dude. Man, we haven't even got to the cool stuff yet. Hollow. Okay, hollow. We'll get there. All right, what I'm going to do next, I'm going to go into this loft number 1. I want to change my octagon out. I want to make a change to that. So if I open that up, there's 2 sketches in there. Sketch 1 and sketch 2 are both inside of this loft. Well, sketch 2 is my octagon. So that's what I'm going to change. So I'm going to right click, find the eyeball and go right above it. That's the edit sketch. Everybody with me? Click on that. There's that wonderful octagon that I don't like. So I'm going to select the whole thing and then delete it. Do not exit the sketch at this point. You'll crash big time.
Wait, how will it crash?
Because there's nothing there anymore for the loft. The loft's still here.
Oh, so it's gonna try to.
It's going to try and do it with nothing. And that's like, well, that's just like a bad B movie. Okay. So I'm going to put in now, this time, just a simple circle. So I'm just going to put a circle here. I'm going to do it, about 1.5 inches diameter. Now, once that's there and I X the sketch now, I'm going to get that error. And this is where I want you to look very careful what you're seeing. It says there's an error. The loft operation failed to complete. I know. I took part of it away. Okay? So you close that, ignore it.
Yo, there's no one showing up.
I know, dude. Neither am I. We're the same.
That error though.
Did this turn red?
No, mine just has a circle.
Have you hit exit sketch?
The lock is
There's your error. Okay.
It's saying what's wrong. Lock operation failed to complete.
Oh my gosh. It's like deja vu. Okay. Right click on loft. Edit the feature. Right above the little glass, there's an edit feature. And it just, now it fixes it. It's still got the sketches, but now it's fixed. You get a little bit more of
Why
a.
did that happen? Where is that a feature?
So let me cancel that.
So why does that happen instead of like?
Instead of just doing it?
You know what we could have done instead is literally just gone back, delete the loft, redraw the circle, then do the relock.
Okay, but what if you're 73 sketches into it?
That's true.
Okay, so when you come to the loft, right click, and it's usually this block setup here. It says edit feature.
Can you figure out how to make the circle big?
Okay, now the thing about SolidWorks, it allows you to go back in and change things at any time. And all it needed to do is recalculate the math because it went from an octagon to a circle, which changes the math that it uses. That's all I had to do is tell it to rethink the math.
Loft operation failed to complete.
And again, you can still move your side. If you want to get a twist on there, you can get a little pucker to a point.
Oh,
Okay, or you can go straight shot with it. So again, you still have that ability. I'm going to come around, bail out Mr. Payne.
dude,
When you get it looking good, check that off.
mine won't.
Can I redo how I did the whole thing? How far back don't we go, Caden?
Can you redo? Let's start from the first square. 4x4.
Really? Are we going back to the first square?
What do you say?
The deleting process. Okay, here's what we do. It's going over it all over again. There's my loft.
You just watch the video.
I know. I expand it out. I go to sketch 2, right click, edit sketch. There's the circle. I'm going to change that out now to something else. Okay, so I delete what's in there. I put in something new. No, put the little square in there. Now I'm getting kind of serious. I'm going to put some size on it. That's just me, just trying to be a little more precise.
Got a question.
Yeah.
How do we make the distance between top plane and plane 1 shorter?
Okay, I'll show you that too. Once you get your new item in there, exit the sketch. It's in an error. Close it, ignore it.
How do we get that sound?
Just a second. Right click on loft. Go up to edit feature. And it's all back to good. You check that off. And now I got rebuild errors. Yeah.
You see right click, do you mean left click?
Right click is an enter, left click's a pick. So you use your big butt finger to pick your nose, your middle finger to pick on people. Okay, okay, there's my base.
Dude, mine's a circle.
That's fine. Okay, all right. You're getting lost. I don't know why you're getting lost. I've done it so many times. Okay, so you've got 2 planes that we're working on. We're gonna do the next plane. Okay, so I'll post this video after class. You guys can watch it over and over and over again. But I've done it 3 times. Do it slow.
Is this what the chat's saying or like?
Yeah, this is what the chats are
We're all
saying.
caught up, brother.
You guys are all, anybody need help in the room? Okay. Okay, and then make, and then bring up another, okay, okay, let's go ahead and make the stem for this, I guess, coming off the middle here. There's a couple ways you can do it. We're gonna do it with a revolve. So I've got my top plane is what both of these planes are. They're both the top plane. They're just copies of each other in a parallel. You have a choice now to use either the front plane or the right side plane. It doesn't matter which one you use. Okay, I'm gonna go front because being right's never right.
Are we supposed to be paying attention or is this for the?
This is for you, man. Everything I say is like God speaking to you.
Dude, but like you repeated the same stuff like 10 times.
I know. And I go home and cry. All right, so go to your front plane, right click and hit the eyeball on the front plane. Okay, now I've got 3 planes showing. I've got a plane 1, a front plane, and a top plane. So you've got to keep track of where you're at. Okay, we're going to work on the front plane. Anybody lost on what the front plane looks like? It says front on it. Okay, we're going to start a sketch. Activate the sketch. Now, this is a demo one. You guys got to make your own trophy after this because I'm only going to talk for this for a few more minutes for some demo stuff. When I start my plane, I should get the yellow box. If you don't get the yellow box, exit the sketch and do it again so you get the yellow box. That yellow box says, where do you then draw, sucker? It says that right there. You see all that?
Yeah, I didn't get that yellow box.
Then exit your sketch and do it again. Oy, caramba, mona mina. Okay, once you get the yellow box, then you can select the plane you want to draw on. If you don't get the yellow box, you'll be on the last plane you were drawing on. Okay, we all good? Everybody with me? How's the new guy doing? Okay, you're online people are always confused. Just go whack him on the head with it.
Imagine if we had a sub again.
Okay, okay, you missed a whole bunch of steps. Exit sketch. That's why I went here and said, oh, can't do it. Now you can do it. Then this one, pick this one. Happy days or happy hair again. Remove this little green line, makes it look more nice. Plug that in. Then we're already here, so we go to the front plane. Eyeball and you see it. We did a sketch on that plane. Sketch. Sketch. No yellow box. Exit. Start again. Choose plane. Go to the front view. Okay, everybody's in the front view now.
Dude, I've been here for years.
Really? Okay. Okay, Mustafa, do the exact same crap we did in the last time. Exit your sketch, go into features, select loft. It'll have the circle selected. Go ahead and pick the circle or the square. Exit the sketch. If it comes with an error message, ignore the error, go back in, edit the feature, and it'll be fine. Then exit that feature, and you're good. Yay. Draw a center line on the front plane. And I'll go into my front view.
Wait a second.
Now, when you get there, your origin's down the bottom. Okay, that's where the origin is, because this plane and the top plane coincide there. That's where they interlock.
Seeing the origin.
It's a red arrow pointing up.
It's not there.
The center one, you click on the front line.
Did you pick the front plane or did you pick?
Front line way. We're there.
You're there? Okay, so Mustafa, I don't know where you're at because I can't see your screen. So if you've exited out of the sketch, it should fix. Tell me what happened. While you're telling them to get these other guys working. Okay, if I want to draw a line off the top of my base point here, I could start at the bottom because at the center line, it doesn't matter. But if you really don't like extra lineage in your world, you can follow the little blue dotted line up to the top and start there. Okay, but that's like, you gotta be patient for that. And you guys are millennials and Gen Zs, zombie generation, so we can't be patient. So I'm just gonna drag a line there. Okay, so take the line up. Doesn't matter how far you go. You just need a little bit of a line there.
Does that have to go through both sides?
No, just to sound like come up. Okay, do you have the base created then, Mustafa? So you can start the sketch in the front plane. It is much harder to do this year. Most teachers putting in about 80 hours a week right now. They're,
80 hours?
yeah, because our day doesn't end. When we go home, then the online students start sending emails because they slept till 2. Okay. Exit your sketch, Mustafa.
What's the distance above the center line or above the drawing? Does the center line-
I didn't give you, it has to be a line. It could be, the size doesn't matter. So Mr. Payne, size does not matter till the end.
Nice.
Okay, ever, in anything in life. Okay, so Mustafa, just exit your sketch. Okay, what happened? Nothing. Did you do the loft between the two shapes? He's really lost. Okay, I'm going to take you in and we're going to do a series of arcs. Okay, just because they're different. Now, when you arc command, okay, hang on just a second, Mustafa. Okay, Mustafa, I'm gonna make you the host for a minute. You're gonna have to give this back to me in a minute. Okay, so don't screw me up, okay? But I need to see your screen. Okay, now at the bottom of your screen, Mustafa, will you pick, there's a green box that says share screen. Will you click that? Those are in class. You're gonna take the arc option. And I'm trying to get off a screen to come up here.
Can you hear me?
You gotta talk a lot louder.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Let me stop sharing my screen so you can share your screen. Okay, share your screen away with me. It's down the bottom of your screen. It says share screen. Okay, you guys in class are going to use this arc tool. There's 3 of them in there. If you use the 3-point arc, you'll have more success. Because I'm waiting for Mustafa to share his screen. It's on the bottom of your screen. There should be a button that says green. It says share screen. So you're going to 3-point arc. You can pick anywhere on the top that you want. And you're just going to create a series of arcs that connect together, and they can be anything you want them to be. Okay, just create a series of them. And do 4 arcs of various size.
You just
Okay.
can start it on the end one?
Yeah.
What if mine has like it's weird. Do we do it on the black line or the
on the black line. Okay, Mustafa, I'm not seeing your screen. Down at the bottom, it's a green button that says share screen. You're in control. I can't do anything until you do something.
How many of those do you want?
4. Do 4 arcs.
How do you flip the dang one?
That's what I want you to practice.
Is it like control or something?
Nope, it's just how you position your cursor. Okay, Mustafa's connecting.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah, I know you would. You're a brilliant man.
How do I like zoom out?
That's your roll button in the middle of your mouse.
Oh.
Okay. Are you running out of memory, Mustafa? Your second account. How many times are you in here, man? Well, I can't now, Mustafa, because your first account has it and I can't take it back over. So you have to go into your first account and give me back host control.
This is sick. Then we boss extrude it.
No, we're going to revolve it.
Revolve.
Yeah. But you then need to close off the geometry. Okay, now here it comes, Mustafa. Here you go. One more time. You're now able to share. This will take 2 seconds once I see your screen to fix, so apologize. Well, you did it. Yay, you got it right. Now, go over to the right side and make your front plane so you can see it. On the left side, sorry. On the left, on the left, on the left. Front plane, right click, hit the eyeball. Okay, now draw there, okay? Now give me back control of my computer. Andrew, wasn't that fun? Okay, you need to stop sharing. There you go. Thank you greatly. All right, back to my share time. All right, so we've got 3 or 4 arcs that we built off the top of our base. They're various sizes, various orientations. Now, there's a lot you can do with these if you're not too happy with them. Sorry, guys, forgot to hit that button. You can go in and clean them up a little bit with things like the Sketch Fillet tool. If you don't like how they look, you can increase the radius on those so you can put some shape to them. You can, we'll do that again in case you didn't see it. Click 2 arcs. The yellow is the preview. You can change that to what you want it to be. You want to make sure they're tangent connections, so you don't want anything extra hanging off there. In order to revolve it cleanly, you're going to need a closed polygon. So I left this one going off to the right because it's to make it really hard to close this, okay? Because I want to talk about what the 3D printer does.
So make it off to the right.
No, I'm going to fix this. This one's going to be bad. This is bad. So I do things wrong so I can tell you how to fix them, okay? The first thing I want to do is I'm going to take a line from the start of my arcs right here and take it to that center mark. So I have it closed. And then it's just doing a line up, same just vertical up to the height of my arcs, whatever that was for you. Okay, whatever you made that. Okay. Now, I need to close these off. If I drew a line here, I'd have a beveled edge there, which may be cool. Okay, could be cool. I don't know. Or you can do something like this. I can take, if you start a line, and this is what I want to show you for this, is when you start a line at any point, it's a straight line. Okay, see it's all nice and straight. If you bring the line back, your cursor, back to the starting point, it then becomes a curve. No one gasped for that. That's oh, thanks, Andrew. Bonus points for Andrew for participating the way the teacher wants. So let's connect these together. Now, this is not a good design for lots of reasons. Okay? What's going to be wrong with this design if I spin that around? I have no way to build onto it to go up. Am I worried about that? A little bit. Okay. So you want to think about the income, but what I want to talk right now is this profile. Because I made this one specifically for what's going to happen when you 3D print. Okay, when we 3D print, whether it's your lightsaber, your rocket, your trophy piece, when you 3D print, it lays down 0.01 millimeters of thread, of plastic thread. That's a really, really thin thread. It's about the thickness of a horse hair. So we pull the hair off the back of a horse's tail. That's about how thick it is. Okay, and it layers that up and goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and gets it. So as it goes up, this here is going to be pretty easy to do because each line comes across here. It's going to be able to go in and then it slowly comes out. So it's not hanging out a great deal. Okay. So when you got it's called a cantilever, and you have a shelf hanging out there, if it gradually builds, I don't need any support material here, which is really good because support material takes time to clean off and it can sometimes make your part not quite what you want it to be. See if I had some support material left on the machine. I usually keep a sample one and then someone comes along and cleans it off for me. This one here is a little different. See how this one gradually comes in and gradually goes out? This one comes in and then really goes out, and there's not much of a support system. So in order to get to this point, it's going to have to fill this in with something else. And that adds more time to your print. So what you want to do is think about how it's printing. Some of your parts that you guys will make will be better be laying down than to stand up, so it takes some less support material. That's what takes the amount of time on these to print. So if I want to simplify this, well, it's in its sketch form, I can do that by taking this endpoint and I can adjust that and adjust where the center is and pull this guy down. I'm feeling that a little bit. So I can change the nature of that shape. This still will not print very well. If this is hanging out clear over here, then it's going to build a support tower all the way up to that point to hold it. And that's an add probably at this size right now, I'll probably add 2 hours to the print to do that. Okay. Now, I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm saying have intent for what you're doing. If I spin this around, what's it going to look like? Can you envision what it's going to look like if I spin?
Yeah, it's going to look like donuts.
Yeah.
They go in, then come out, and go in, and then like hang off.
Then it's got a little droopy flower thing going, right? Can I make that work for my design? Can I still make that work? Is that a salvageable design piece from what you guys know so far? Will that make anything look good? Probably not so good. Probably what I more want is that to go up. And if you notice, you can fight your circles a little bit. If I did something more like that, would be a little quicker print and still allow me to do something here in the middle, okay? So all I did was grab the endpoints and shift them around just to give it a little bit less of an overhang to make the print a little easier, okay? So now I'm gonna go into my features, and I lost my chat room. Where'd my chat go? Someone's chatting away. That is correct. We're on the front plane right now. Absolutely correct. Now I'm going to go into features, revolve boss base, and there's my little trophy cup. Looks like a little tulip.
Oh, shoot.
Okay. Now at this point, it has a little pucker in the middle there, little belly button. Okay, on the 3D print with this, yes.
You exit sketch and then extrude?
No, I just went features and revolve boss base. I did revolve, not an extrude. Okay, so this looks a little bit more like a trophy mug, a little chalice. Might wait for those two to figure out what they're doing.
Where you
Almost there?
Okay. Now
Okay, I want to talk about this pucker. When you create these little belly button things in your model, and it's 3D printing, that means it's going to go over that little area lots and lots of times because it's all coming back down in there. It will create what we call in 3D printing rat's nest, where the threads will just be coming out all over the place. It will not look very pretty, okay? So what you want to do is find a way to remove that. And let me show you what it looks like in section. This is a good thing for you to see. So Mr. Payne asked, when will they make these hollow? Eventually, it's coming. But I need to see what's going on the inside of my model, because if I'm printing it, most likely it's going to have a honeycomb shape inside of there as support structure. I need to know what's going on inside before I send it. And we'll talk more about that when we get to 3D printing. Up across the top of your screen, next to your view orientation and next to your dynamic annotation view, there's one called section view. This is a good way for you to evaluate your drawing and will become essential for you to use on the lightsaber. You've got to be able to see the inside while you're working on the outside. When you click on that section view, I did. Okay, yep, I did. Now, when you're just in the mode, it's temporary. I'm going to hit the check mark and make that a permanent view for right now. This is the part that's problematic. So you see how that comes in really, really tight? The 3D printer cannot comprehend that kind of a condition. That's not a normal condition. And so it's going to just keep putting material there, and you can't get in there to sand it out. Everything you do on a 3D printer can be sanded, and this you can't fix, okay? So this makes it really a big problem. If we were to soak it to get material out of there, it's not to soak for a very long time because there's not a lot of fluid that can move through there. Okay, so you want to avoid these little pinches. So how do we avoid the pinch? And how do we get out of the section view? Mr. Payne, how do we get out of this view?
You're gonna need to first exit sketch.
I'm not in a sketch.
Great. You're gonna get start. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go up, press the revolve or the fourth button where it's like gray.
The sketch view button.
Yeah.
So it's a toggle. So if I just turn that off,
Yeah. See, and
then I'm back, right? Okay. Now I need to add something to my drawing to fix that belly button situation. Most of you probably don't even have that situation,
Yeah.
which is great. Okay. That's chilling billing, right? So what I'm going to do is the cube next to the view orientation lets me see on the inside. So you've got edges, without edges, wireframe, and inside view. So now I can see through it, a little X-ray vision, if you will. I'm going to change my view orientation so I'm square with the front plane. I need to get rid of that tulip shape. That's my plan, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is do it with a plane. What? So for those of you who missed doing the plane the first time, I'm going to copy a plane again. So repetition is still the key to learning. You know, that's why mom beats you with a spoon every day. Have you been beat with a wooden spoon?
Yeah.
What's the way to survive that? Clench, then the spoon breaks. Yeah. If you tighten up those muscles where you're getting whacked, it'll break the spoon. That makes mom more mad, but it's fun. Life skills 101, man. You got to survive the beating. Okay, coming down to my play number 1, which is right here. I'm going to copy that up to this point here. Okay, so again, control key. Get the plane to turn orange. Left mouse button, I drag it up to where I need it. Now, it doesn't have to be dead on exact, but it needs to be kind of close. Okay, to wherever that's going to be. So just create one more plane. And I check that off. Okay, and that puts my plane there. Now, at this point, I can draw, and this is a lot more transparent. So I'm going to do a sketch, aggravate the sketch. It's going to be on plane 2, hopefully by default. Check and see where your origin is. If it's not there, X the sketch, get the L box, pick the plane. Fair enough? Good. Now, I want something to just come up out of here to fill that in. And so I'm just going to do a circle. And I'm gonna make it into, I don't know what I'm gonna make it into, something stupid.
Oh, and then you do, and then you get rid of it. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so now I just build a circle here. And it doesn't have to be very big. It actually, because I can have this sloping down here is fine. It's just this part about from here down that's a problem, where it pinches in. It's the part I want to control. Now, if you're really worried about it, again, you can change your view orientation to see all the edges. You can still come in on that circle, and you can increase its size with a drag, make it a little larger if you want. And then when I do my features and my extrude, just a regular extrude, I can send that up, whatever that tends to be. And then you can draft it. So drafting is another option you have as you work on your parts. So I'm trying to give you as many tools as I can today, because on Thursday is just lab day, okay? So those of you that are working online, please log in, ask questions so that you can get some help on things. And we're working on, right now we're working on the trophy and the rocket. I'm going to show you a rocket here in just a second. Okay, now once I get that to draft mode, is this guy right here on the left. It looks like a, I don't know, a tessellation of some kind. When you activate that, it works by degrees. The default is to draft inward. By each degree, it means you can make a little start point to it. Kind of handy on a rocket. What I would suggest, leave a little flat edge on the top. You could take it to a sharp point, but again, when it's 3D printing, that leaves a thread hanging, and just like on a sweater, you can unravel that entire spike. So if you just go back and leave a little flat tip to that, it'll still look
Wait,
pointed.
why would it print that?
What's that?
Why would it print this if it's extruding it?
Because it's printed by layer. And if I do this, where it's, whoops, wrong way. If it comes to
No,
point,
it's not going to print that because that's the, you're getting rid of that. The yellow is what you're getting rid of.
no, I'm doing extrude, sir. The yellow is what's going to make.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you meant you get rid of it.
And so what you have, this last little thread here doesn't have anything to hold on to, so it doesn't get bound and fused to the rest of the model. So if I just back up 1 degree, and if that's too much, you can go 13.5.
Where's the checkmark to put on preview on here?
On the draft.
Oh, it's still on.
You're right, yeah. You probably still in the other view. So just a little bit of a flatness there. So if I measured that, let me just check it off and we'll measure it. I go into my evaluate, my measure, and that has a whopping diameter of 0 inches. Woohoo! Okay, so on the 3D print, that is about 8 passes with the 3D printer to create that surface, even though it says 0 inches. So I know there's gonna be like 8 threads there, so it's gonna be bound together and not come apart. And if you go into making a mold, you really want to make sure everything's bound together. Okay. All right, there's my wonderful little thing. I'm gonna put a handle on it, and then I'm gonna call this part done. Okay. So this is just a little mock-up trophy. I've not done any sizing to this other than the 4-inch square at the bottom. The rest was just all made up. But I'm gonna put a handle to it. The ones that come off on this side, the others that come off on the other side. Okay, so that you can kind of see how to do that. That means I'm going to work on the front plane to begin with. And all I'm going to do is use my arcs that I, just like I did here, to create that handle for this chalice. So I'm going to do a sketch. I'm going to activate the check. Whoa, okay. Activate the sketch. Why? That's weird. Where am I in? Sketch. Okay, front plane, there it goes. They use my 3-point arc again. That's probably the arc I use 98% of the time. Once in a while, I'll use a center point arc. Rarely do I use a tangent arc. It's almost always 3-point arcs. On this start, what's up? Question?
Does it matter where you draw from?
Yeah, it kind of does.
Where's that center one?
I'm not using the center line right. It's gone. It's been used up. It's inside the chalice. Okay. So as Mr. Payne said, doesn't matter. Stop yawning, Andrew. You've had breakfast. You've had sleep. Knock it off. Okay. If I want to find the exact center, I can come down here to the origin, and I can find that blue line and follow it up. But I want to be somewhat near the center inside that top piece. So they come out with an arc. And then pull, and I can bend that arc to where I want it to be. What's up?
3-point.
3-point. Then pick up on the next side. And then work that to where it looks chalicey. And then this in there. And then they'll just bring it right back down into the base of this, whatever it is. Looks like Dumbo's ear. Little kidney bean. This is going to be a path, and this path does not close. So we're going to do a sweep with this. So I do not want to close the path. What I do want to do, though, is a little bit of editing on the arcs. So I'm going to select arc 1, control key, then arc 2, and I'm going to make sure they're tangent. Then I'm going to do arc 2, then arc 3 with the control key, and make those tangent. And then arc 3, and then arc 4, and make sure those are tangent. That just makes it so that there's no interruptions in what's going to happen with my handle. Okay, and again, I'm doing this relatively simply. You guys can get much more complex with these as you go. These are done a little bit differently in Google Sketch. I'll try and do a video today or tomorrow morning on how to make a trophy in Google Sketch. And I'll post that as well for you guys that don't have SOLIDWORKS. If you have any PCs at all at home and can do SOLIDWORKS, would be great. Okay, I'm going to exit this sketch. Once you get your path done, exit the sketch. I need my right plane now. So I come to the right plane, right click, hit the big old eyeball so I can see it. I'm going to rotate around to that plane. It says right. Okay, so know where you're at. My mama was chubby, my daddy was chubby. Okay, and then do a sketch on the right plane. Again, I didn't get the yellow box, so I exit, sketch again, yellow box, select the right plane. And what you want to think about on this is whatever shape you use needs to be smaller than your smallest radius. So these radii out here are pretty large. So I want my shape to be a little bit smaller. I might have to come in and look at that a few times. To make it more complex, I'm going to use a square and put the center point of the square approximately where the start of that arc is. And then do something just about like that. Just an eyeball it for right now. Okay, and then I'm going to exit the sketch. Now, I might have to come back and edit the size. I didn't put size on it, but what the heck? Okay, here we go. So now I've got a closed sketch on sketch 8. I'm going to sketch 7. And sketch 6 is my path. Okay, so I've got those two things going on there. You can float over, and so you can see them. In the features is the swept boss base. So I select the swept boss base. It says, well, the blue is the profile that you're going to use for your model. That is sketch 8. The path is pink, always pink. That is the sketch with the arc. Nothing happened. Which makes me so happy. So when nothing happens, we've got to figure out why. Okay. So I've told it to follow the path. I've told it to follow the curves. So in this case, it's already saying I can't make the corner because here's why. This is a really stupid reason why. Okay. So when I set this up, I set it on the plane where my arc started and where my profile is. They're both pretty much on that same point, right? Because of that, there's no math starting point. The starting point for that math is 0. And if I'm multiplying by 0, what do I get? 0. So it can't make anything because everything's zero. Does that make sense a little bit? So I need to fix that, okay? The fix is going to freak you out a little bit because it's weird. So the fix is on sketch 6. It's my path. So I'm going to go into sketch 6 and edit that sketch. I'm going to go into my trim entities, which doesn't make sense either, but it works. I'm going to do a power trim. And on the power trim, I'm going to take this arc and then drag it into the other side of the axis. So now it comes over more. Now the power trim takes a little bit of practice to work with. Let me get myself squared up on the front view again here so you can see it easier. When you do a power trim, you grab the line, hold it down, and you can change its length by holding the mouse key down and just dragging it. But I need to cross over that center axis line where my sketch is drawn for sketch 8. So sketch 6 has to go through where the front plane is, where the right side plane is. Okay? So whatever you need to do, if it didn't work, that's your first thing to check. Then you can exit the sketch when you get that done. Go back to your sweep again, your swept boss base. Sketch 8, sketch 6, there she goes. And there's my handle. Okay, looks a little wimpy. It kind of is. So I'm going to check it off. Thanks, Andrew. It's always good when someone cares. Now I look at that and say, well, I could go a little beefier with that. So I can go back into sketch 8. And I can increase the size of that a little bit. And exit sketch. And that makes it a little bit beefier. So I'm okay with that. Now, at this point, you could go through and do things like a fillet. You can come and round off edges if you choose to. You can decorate this up any way you want. Before I do that, I'm going to mirror it over. Now, we're doing a 3D mirror. We did a 2D mirror the other day. We're using a line. I can't draw a line in 3D and mirror it because it has a 360-degree radius on it. But I can go in my features, and there's a mirror option here as well. And the mirror tells you first, what is the plane? Well, that's going to be this plane right here. My right plane is going to be what I'm going to mirror it around. Then I need to pick the odd feature. It's going to be this sweep. And then I have Dumbo going on here. And then I got my little trophy thing going. Okay. So that gives you a lot of different tools right now to build your trophy and your rocket. Okay. Looks kind of stupid looking. It looks like a butterfly trophy. Butterflies work, right? Okay. So your trophy is 6 inches by 6 inches by 10. You can do that on SketchUp. When you get done with SketchUp, again, I'll put a video together on how to do that, and also do one on the rocket for you guys that don't have SolidWorks. But that's the only option I have that you can do at home, because it'll work on your Chromebooks. Okay, now the rocket is a little different. Okay, this one's got some size to it. The rocket, if I start a new file, and I'm just going to do just a second on this, okay? Because I want you guys to have some work time. If you start your sketch on the top plane, the rocket must fit within a 40 millimeter, oh my gosh, metrics. It must fit inside a 40 millimeter tube. So remember this picture here? This tube right here is a Schedule 40 PVC pipe. That means the inside diameter is 40 millimeters. In inches, that's 1.57 inches. Okay. So it also happens to coincide with the size of a ping pong ball. So what happens is it's just like a muzzle loader. You drop a ping pong ball in the tube, then you drop your rocket in. The ping pong ball is what provides your thrust. Okay. Now, when we launch these, we'll do them out somewhere not on asphalt, because these things shatter like glass and hit the ground, unless you want to do that. Most of you will probably lose your rocket, so don't get too attached to it. If you really, really love it and you want to keep it forever and ever and for always and always, and it gets broke, we'll print another one. It's not a big deal. Okay? So don't cry over broken rockets, because there'll be a few that just don't make it. Okay. So this is what we're going to launch. And I don't have this whole setup built yet, but I do have this. This metal container here. The regulator on there is got an emergency valve of 80 psi. So we're not going to shoot, because we're more city side, we're not going to put in the 120 pounds that I normally would do. They're just going to go too far, and I don't want you running into traffic on State Street.
Shoot it over the freeway.
Easily done.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, some of you will definitely do that.
Get some highway patrolmen and stuff.
I don't want to do that, though.
How would they know it's us?
I don't know. How do they know when you shoot water balloons across the neighborhood? They always find. I don't know.
People snitch for that.
Okay, this aluminum case here is machined. Is done on a metal lathe, so it'll take quite a bit of pressure. But we've got a regulator, which is this guy right here, that will release at 80, and that's just mainly for safety's sake. Okay. If you want the plans to build one of these, I can get those to you as well. It's not anything secret. Just like I say, it's a potato gun, t-shirt launcher, candy rocket, whatever you want to do with them. But if you want plans, I'll give them to you. Okay, so if I'm doing my rocket, the first thing I want you to do is you start your sketch. I want you to draw a circle and put a smart dimension on it. Now, I'm still in IPS, so I put the smart dimension on the circle and type in 40 mm. Don't worry. So
Do you want us to do this or just watch you?
you're going to do this when you do the rocket, okay? Now, what I want you to get on this is I'm in IPS, but I'm typing in a millimeter. SOLIDWORKS doesn't care. If you put the units, it'll do the math for you. So if I put in 40 millimeter and hit enter, it'll come out at 1.57. I don't have to try and keep track of where I'm at, okay? Now, everything of your rocket that you design has to fit inside this circle. So what I do, and this is totally optional for you, is once I get this circle drawn, then I exit that sketch. I come over here to sketch 1, and if you go to rename tree item, I put in here max DIA, max diameter. You can spell that out if you want to. DIA is the abbreviation of diameter. So that tells me what has to fit in there. Every year, I'll get a student that will do this. They'll create oops, let's do a new sketch. I'll do it on the same top plane. They'll come in with their circle. They'll match that out. They'll start doing their extrudes, and they do this really fast. So don't worry too much about it, because it goes. Your rocket is 4 inches tall, okay? 4 inches. 4 inches. Okay? So they go, that way it makes these on the math. They'll do this, they'll put a little chamfer to it. They'll do 25 degrees, maybe, that looks good. There's my little rocket base. Then they'll come in and they'll start putting different funky things on there. So then a sketch, you can sketch on the surface of something that's flat. Maybe we'll do a octagon there, since that's what I got. Switch to top view, and let's do this super fast. Boom. Touch the outside edge, features, extrude. Looks good. We'll maybe go this one 0.75 for fun. That looks good. So now I'm at 1.25 inches. Then we do another sketch, super fast here. That surface, just circle. The circles are cool. Pop that in there, give that a smart dimension. Make that 1.1 because it's cool. Features, extrude. Let's go 1.25. Boom, like that. And then we need a cone on it. So then we bring up another plane. Doom, 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 doom. That works. Doesn't matter which one.
Why can't you just draw on the top of that circle?
I could definitely do that. But I want to make a cone. So I get the middle of the circle, draw a line up, smart dimension that line. So I got inch and a quarter, it's 2.5. That means I've got a little bit of space. So I'm just going to keep it small. Small rockets are fine. The 1 inch there, 3-point arc, grab that guy. And I've got a little bit of room there, so might as well use it, right? So I'll come out there, about that, slope that down. Take this guy down to here because I think it looks cool. And we'll do a little features, and we'll do, oh, that's kind of cool. Let's do extrude boss base. Do a little mid-plane action because it's fun. Drop that down to 1/4 inch. Check that off. Looks good. Go into my linear pattern, do a circle pattern, run it real fast. I want the circle, use that edge. Looks good. I want to do my features and be this guy here. And we're going to do them equally spaced. And we'll do 4 of them. And we'll check that off. That looks pretty wicked. Okay, now the thing that happens is you'll keep going because this looked cool. So you'll do another one that comes out beyond this point right here. If it doesn't fit in the tube, I can't launch it. Okay, so you've got to make sure that when you do these wings that they are within that 40 millimeter size. The other thing is, if you want to get really good lift, is I need to do a concave surface here on the back side. Okay, I'm going to hide my right plane because it's bugging me. I need to basically think about the size of a ping pong ball. Remember, ping pong balls are 40 millimeters in diameter. So if I go to my plane, I do a plane, I don't have any of these points, right? Really. But there's a little sneaker here. If I just pick a flat surface, it'll make a plane. And I'm going to take that plane, I'm going to go, think millimeters. So half of 40 is 20. So I'm going to go 10 millimeters out from the base. So it's right there. And I just check that off. And then what I'm going to do is a new sketch on this back end. And again, I'll leave this up for you. There's a line there. So I'm going to go to that view. If you don't know what view you are, this little guy right here is called the normal view. Whatever view you're working on, if you click on that, it'll square it up to your face. And right now, you see my problem? These little wings are already larger than my base. It will not fit in the tube. You can take a hammer and pound it in and rip them off, but it's already where it's not going to fit. That's got to be a tight fit, just like in muzzle loading. You want it to be a tight fit so the projectile comes out right. So now I'm going to do a quick line. I'm going to go from quadrant to quadrant on my 40 millimeter. I'm going to take and do an arc from one side to the other, and I'm just going to match the arc size so it turns orange. So now this is where I'm at. And then do a feature. It's going to be a revolve cut. So it's a little different. So we do a revolve cut, select that axis. It spins around in there. When I check that off, now I've got, and hide that plane too. Now there's a little cup that the ping pong ball can sit in as you launch it. Okay. All right. Here's what you then do now. If you would like, you can have paper to do your sketches on. I've got whiteboards that you can use if you want to do a whiteboard sketch. If you want to just go for it in the software, you're welcome to do that. You're doing two things this week. You're doing a trophy and the rocket, and you're learning about, as you do your rocket, think about aspects of your lightsaber, and likewise on the trophy, what's going to be on your lightsaber that you can learn while you practice on these. So you get things figured out before you get to the one that's going to matter the most. Okay. Now I'm going to switch over to Google Sketch here for a minute. So if you guys want to just kind of work, if anybody needs help, what's up? Yeah, take a break. Let's come back at, how long do you need? 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a 10-minute break. I'll switch up and get Google Sketch up here and see if we can help you guys that are needing Google Sketch up. And we'll get that.